Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, Dimma here. Today's video is going to answer a question that I have gotten a lot. Even up until now when I do Q&As, people are asking me, Dimma, what do I need in my makeup kit as a beginner? And in this video, I'm going to answer that question. I want it to be very straight to the point. I kind of went back and forth trying to figure out the best way to do this video. I was wondering, should I kind of do a makeup tutorial where I talk about each product as I do my makeup and actually show you guys how to use it? But I was like, you have so many of those videos already, Dimma. People would want a video that would make for easy reference. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you guys a list. I'll just kind of talk about every product, each product, talk about why they are important and what purpose they serve. It's also not going to be like a drugstore type of list or a high-end type of list. I decided to make this list with products that I genuinely love irrespective of price. So it's not a drugstore high-end type of video or not drugstore or kind of high-end. You know, you guys kind of get what I'm saying. I just wanted to focus on just products and not brands and tell you guys why each of these products, irrespective of what brand you get a version of it from, they are important, okay? Or a version of them from, they are important. So let's get into it. Okay, first, before I actually start talking about the items that go into your makeup purse, I want to talk about two things. Since we're kind of talking about products from like base to finish kind of, sequence, I would say, I want to say that before you actually consider any of the things that will be in the kit that you carry around for your makeup, you need sunscreen and you need a moisturizer. You need a moisturizer. The moisturizer always comes before you kind of finish up with sunscreen, but it's important. It doesn't matter how or what type of makeup you like to do, lightweight, heavy, not heavy, kind of in between. You need to make sure that irrespective of skin type, you moisturize. After you've done any other thing to your skin, cleansed, done your whole routine, you need to use a moisturizer and you also need to use SPF. So the moisturizer creates a moisturized skin makes for a very nice base. It makes for a very nice canvas for makeup to actually sit on. You don't want to start doing your makeup on dry skin. So moisturizer is very important. And personally for me, I love the La Roche-Posay Effaclar Duo. Very, very good. It's for people with combination to oily skin, which I have, and I like to finish it up with the La Roche-Posay sunscreen. And this is because whether or not you're going outside, or even if you just get a little bit of sunlight, sit close to windows, whatever, you need sunscreen regardless. So this one is the La Roche-Posay ANTHELIOS, very, very popular as well, but very, very good most importantly because this does not break me out and it's invisible. It's not something that, some of these sunscreens, they leave a white cast, and if you're not careful, like if you apply sunscreen before you start doing your makeup, it can actually change the color of your complexion product. This one does not do that. I'm going to have a list or links for these two products in the description box. So this is my makeup purse, okay? This is where I'm going to fit everything that I'm going to be talking to you guys about in this video, just to show you guys that they actually, because these things that I'll be sharing are essentials, okay? Things that you can carry around, travel with, put it in a tote bag, go somewhere with it if your bag is big enough. These are the important products. That's what I'll be sharing in this video, okay? So first, let's talk about priming because that's the first thing, okay? And I have two primers here. I have one foundation primer and one eyeshadow primer. So let's talk about the foundation primer first. This is important irrespective of skin type. If you have dry skin, if you have normal skin, if you have combination skin, if you have oily skin, you need to prime your face for foundation. It creates a base for your foundation, gives your foundation something to adhere to, actually reduces the appearance of pores, like a lot of the time, depending on the type that you get. This one is one of those that works for all skin types. So this is a NARS Soft Matte Primer. This primer is not mattifying, but then what it does is that it kind of controls oil in problem areas like the T-zone, forehead, or places where oil really come through. And sometimes people can have like normal skin, and sometimes they have dry skin, but then they still get oily in certain parts of their face. This is one that I would highly recommend. It's a NARS Soft Matte Primer. It works really good together with the foundation that I currently use. So everything I talk about it and I put it in. Next, eyeshadow primer. Irrespective of skin type as well, you need eyeshadow primer. The reason why eye makeup does not last long for a lot of us, or a lot of people I have seen in general, is because they put a lot of effort sometimes. Actually, they know that foundation primer is very important, but a lot of people don't think that eyeshadow primer is equally as important. If you like doing elaborate eye makeup, just bear in mind that especially for people, my girls who have combination to oily skin like I do, you don't just produce oil on your forehead, T-zone. Like, no, you also produce oil on your eyelids, especially if you have a crease. For me, I have an obvious crease where oil comes through from. And if you want any kind of eye makeup that you've done, especially eyeshadow, to last you a long time, you need to control the oil that you get in that area as well, because that will in turn help your eyeshadow last longer and not kind of wear off or slick off. And the one that I really like is the MAC Prep and Prime 24-hour Extend Eye Base. It is really good. It helps eyeshadow last a long time. And to me, this is not something that is optional, because it doesn't matter what you like to use on your eyes, shimmers, powders, whatever, you need something that would actually help all of that last long. So an eyeshadow primer is important. The next thing that I tend to do, especially after I've primed and done all that good stuff, use my primer, done my moisturizer, the next step for me is eyebrows. So my favorite eyebrow pencil is the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Cheek Pencil. I talk about how I discovered just how good this brand was like last year, around the time that we're still heavy on product releases and the beauty community on YouTube was still thriving. Charlotte Tilbury was considered like a white people brand. I've seen that has changed a lot, and their products are actually of very good quality. So that's Charlotte Tilbury for me, but this does not mean that Charlotte Tilbury is the only brand that has good eyebrow pencils. There are so many even Nigerian brands that have good eyebrow pencils. This is just my go-to because I find this very easy to use, but you need pencil for your brows. And the reason why I'm saying pencil is because it's the easiest product to use when it comes to brows. There are gels, there are powders, there are pens, there are so many other types of products to use, but as a beginner, a very good place or the obvious place to start when it comes to defining your brows, pencils. They are foolproof, very easy to use, they're not tricky, like it's just easy for you to create all kinds of illusions with this. So an eyebrow pencil. I didn't show you guys, but the primer is already in here, so okay. Next thing is foundation. My go-to is the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. You need a foundation. This one is very important because you just don't buy any foundation. You need to make sure that whatever foundation you buy is targeted at people with your skin type. I have combination to oily skin. I've kind of said that a few times. So maybe kind of make sure that you find foundations that don't make your oily skin worse, like foundations that are not like heavily targeted at people with dry skin, because they tend to sometimes not be oil free and offer a level of hydration which you don't need, because your skin will produce oil on its own over time. So I'll say foundation, but make sure that you buy one that is targeted at people with your skin type. Funny enough, the NARS Sheer Glow is actually one of those foundations that is pushed at everybody. If you go to the NARS counter, dry skin, you like this, they recommend this. Normal skin, they'll recommend this. Combination to oily, they'll recommend this. It's a very good foundation that works for everybody. I have combination to oily, tend to get oily on my T-zone. This works great for me. So NARS Sheer Glow foundation, I'm going to put it in here. Okay. And then next is concealers. So for me, I would highly recommend that if you're starting out with makeup, you have 3 concealers. I have 2 here, but I'll say 3. It makes it easy for just beginners, and I'll kind of explain why. You need 3 concealers. So first, you need a concealer that is the same shade as your foundation, the same shade as your skin tone. This here is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, and I use this to conceal. This actually conceals my dark spots and hyperpigmentation. It's the same shade as my skin tone, and it actually does what concealers are actually originally created to do, and it's conceal. Okay, so you need a shade of concealer that conceals imperfections, right? You need another shade of concealer to highlight with. Okay, and the reason why you need a lighter concealer, so a concealer that is 2 shades, 1 to 2 shades lighter than the previous concealer that I showed you guys, or your actual skin tone, is because whenever you apply foundation, it kind of flattens out your face. It removes dimension, it removes structure, and you need to bring all of that back, because when light hits your face, it doesn't hit every part the same way. Some parts are highlighted. There are parts where the light hits immediately, so your forehead, down your T-zone, and there are parts that are not, and this part, they get more light than the the sides of your face. And what you want to do is to recreate that illusion with the overall finish that you get. So you need a concealer that is 2 shades lighter. This is Too Faced Born This Way in Butterscotch. I like this concealer because I have 2 of it in different shades, and it's because it doesn't dry out fast and they just give you time to blend, and it's very forgiving for beginners. So with beginners, you don't want to also start with a concealer that is too drying, that before you're even done blending one part, the other part has congealed. You don't want that. This is very, very good. So you need a concealer to actually highlight with, okay? Goes in here. And then you need a third concealer, but for this particular product, and that's the reason why I said I had 2 concealers earlier, I use a stick foundation for this, but a lot of people use a concealer for it, and I would also highly recommend using a concealer for it because it's the easier thing to get. This is a stick foundation, and it's about 2 to 3 shades darker than my actual skin tone. So you need a third concealer or a second foundation, depending on the type of formula you gravitate towards, that will help you bring like depth back into your face. This is the ABH stick foundation. This has actually been discontinued, but I use this. It's darker. A darker concealer that is 2 shades darker also serves this purpose, but this, you apply this on the sides of your face, underneath your cheekbones, to bring depth back. And just like you need 3 concealers, you also need 3 different powders, and I'm going to explain to you why. First, you need a setting powder, and this setting powder, I use this to set different parts of my face. I use it to set primers on my eyes when I use them. I use it to set the lighter concealers, especially because the lighter concealers are not the same shade as your skin tone, and you don't want to go over it with your regular setting powder, which is probably around the same shade as your skin tone, because what it does is that it kind of removes the lightness that you've just put a lot of work into creating or adding. Okay, so you need a setting powder. This one is translucent. It doesn't really have any color payoff. It's the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. You can also use this as an all over setting powder. I personally prefer to use it to set my concealers, especially. Okay, next you need a contour powder, and basically the contour powder, you use it to set the darker concealer that you've applied, and it's also called a bronzer. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush bronzer. You can actually skip the concealer if you don't want and just use the powder alone. If as a beginner you find that that gives you the effect that you like, that's fine, but you need a bronzing powder or a contour powder. Okay, this is 2 shades, about 2 to 3 shades darker than my foundation, and it just gets what I need done. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. And then after that, you need an all over setting powder. And my current favorite all over setting powder is the Charlotte Tilbury setting powder, and this is in tan number 3. It's very small because this is a sample travel size. I personally got this size because it's easy for me to throw this into my bag and use this to touch up throughout the day. If you really like it, you can have a big size and a small size at the same time. I just think that this serves the purpose until I run out and I get another one. So you put this in here. This is for all over setting, so you use this after you've set your highlighter and set your contour. Okay, next thing that you need is eyeliners. I think you need 2 different types of eyeliners, and to line your waterline, ideally you need a pencil liner that gives you more control, or your bottom lash line. It gives you more control, and a lot of them are hypoallergic and they will not sting your eyes. You really don't want to line your water eye or just your lower lash line area with something that is not hypoallergic or something that has been created for that area, because liners that go on top of your eyes, like, they don't really get into close proximity with your eyeballs as much as these do. So you can also, people like to line their lower lash line or waterline with a gel liner. I personally prefer pencils. I think that they are great. This is a Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal. I think I'm mentioning a lot of Charlotte Tilbury's. I just like the brand, but this is their Rock and Coal pencil. And then there are the pen liners. This to me is literally my favorite product from Huda Beauty, and this is the Huda Beauty Life Liner. I personally prefer the brown color and not their black, but this is perfect for me for creating wing lines and for lining my upper lash line. So if you really like lining your eyes, some people are just eyeliner babes, they don't even like eyeshadows. I recommend just having 2. One that is liquid or has a gel-like consistency for lining the top part of your eyes, and a pencil for lining the bottom part of your eyes. My favorite mascara is from Huda Beauty. This is their Legit Lashes mascara, but you need a mascara, guys. It's not just for people with long lashes. It will help separate your lashes. If you're somebody who likes to wear false eyelashes. It also kind of preps your lashes for the falsies that you'll be applying. I like the legit lashes because it has 2 different ends, okay? And this end is very, very good for the bottom lashes, which are shorter, and they have an end that is curved and very, very good for the top lashes, okay? So mascara. This is optional, but I know that a lot of beginners still love to wear their falsies. I'd recommend that you have a pair that just fits into a nice thing like this, and lash glue. This one looks so crusty, but it's the dual eyelash adhesive, and this one works really great for me. So you need lashes and you need a lash glue, and with these types you can get at least like 5 uses out of them, but the lash glue is also very important. Blush. My favorite blush for women my skin color is MAC's blush in Raisin, and this blush is just perfect for people who are my complexion, for black women period. It works amazing. It looks great. I'm wearing it right now. So you need a blush, and blush, guys, please. Blush is not just for white people. Black women can wear blush too. The color that I've just shown you guys with Raisin is perfect. Orange or coral blushes also work really good, and some pinks as well on us, like deep pinks. So this is kind of in between a pink and a coral. You need something around the shade for everyday wear, okay? Most of the time I'd like to tie or match my blush to my lip color. If I'm wearing like a pink lip, then maybe I might go for a pink blush or a pinker blush, but this is good for everyday wear. You need a lip pencil, y'all. For a lot of lip colors, you need a solid brown lip pencil. This one is from KIKO and it's 321. And this is what I use now. You need a brown lip pencil, my lovelies, for your lip colors. I also need kind of an everyday gloss. This one is the KIKO 3D HYDRA. I can't talk. This is the KIKO 3D HYDRA gloss in 20. So a neutral everyday gloss. For like black women, like this is good. This particular shade is good. It's like an everyday type of gloss for me, and a brown lip pencil. But irrespective, if you're a red lip kind of girl, that's fine, but just know that you need a brown lip pencil for a lot of lip colors that you're going to come across or have to use as a black woman, okay? Okay, not the last product, but you also need setting spray. Especially if you live in a hot, humid place like Nigeria, you need setting spray, okay? This purse is almost full, okay? It's going to lock, but okay. The last thing I wanted to talk about is eyeshadow, but eyeshadow is kind of just, it's a very complex thing, but I would highly recommend that you look into the Huda Beauty, what are they called again? Obsessions palettes. These type of palettes, you can create so many looks from them, so many everyday looks from this eyeshadow palette, for example. So I'm going to put this in here, okay? And I'm going to lock. Guys, please don't mind me, but it's just because I didn't even take my time and because I was doing this video, but everything is in here, okay? It fits, it always does. But one thing I didn't talk about is brushes, and I think it can get so complex depending on how detailed you like to be with your makeup. But one set that I'd highly recommend for anybody who is starting out is the Real Techniques beginner brush set. A picture is going to appear on the screen. I'm also going to have it linked in the description box. Today is a very hard day for English, but I think that they have a lot of beginner brushes, and this particular kit comes with just 5 brushes, okay, that you can just put in another small pouch on the side, or if you actually take your time to pack properly, it will fit in here. I hope that this video answered your questions, and I hope that you guys found it helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to me if you are not yet subscribed. I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.